Alright guys, so today we're going to be checking out something a little bit different. Now it is a pair of headphones, in fact it is a pair of wireless headphones, but the pair that we're going to check out today is the Sineaptic SE-1s, and this is a dual ribbon wireless pair of headphones. In fact, it's saying that it's the world's first pair. I haven't actually ever seen any or tested any on this channel before, so I was very intrigued on checking these out. Now these do come in retailing at $199, but the first thing I want to say about these before we get into the product itself is the box that it came in. This box just came in for this pair of headphones, and when I picked up the box, it had like a wobble to it. And really, I've never felt anything like this with picking up a box, so I didn't understand why it would have a wobble to it. So I'm gonna show you, this right here is the headphones. This is the Sineaptic SE-1s. It's a wireless headphone with dual ribbon drivers. Now in size comparison, here is a box of the wired IEMs that I just tested and did a video on yesterday. And here is the box for these headphones. And that doesn't even put it into perspective, because this is how large it is. It is that size all the way around. This is a huge box. But anyway, so to figure out what the wobble is, obviously trying to open the box to see what it is, this is what they did. You see these things on the side of the box? They're on all corners of the box. And what it is holding the case in a way where it's like suspended. It can move up and down, and that's holding. It's like rubber bands or whatever on the side that's elastic. They have some give to it. So the headphones were just wobbling when I picked them up. So I had to actually cut the case out of the box or out of these suspensions to be able to even access the headphones. Now, like I said, these are being labeled as the world's first pair of wireless headphones with dual ribbon drivers. And ribbon drivers are different than normal drivers. Normal drivers are like usually in a coil style design. The ribbon is a lot more elongated and it's a lot faster than normal coil style drivers, or at least in my experience with, ribbon style headphones compared to normal coiled style headphones. So again, I'm very excited to check these out. It is an open back style of headphones, so do keep in mind anything you listen to, anybody around you is going to be able to hear everything that you're listening to. So, I don't know how portable these actually are, and we'll get into that in a second too when it comes to the design, but it does have Bluetooth 5.2, and it also has multi-point connection, so you can connect to more than one device at a time. Now also, when it comes to the codecs, now this was kind of surprising, it only supports AAC and SBC, so that's pretty much just standard Bluetooth codecs. There's nothing high-end here, there's no aptX, there's no LDAC, and I definitely think in a pair like this, I think a lot of people would be more interested in having it high-res wireless certified and being able to have, some higher-end Bluetooth codecs. Now, as far as what you get inside the box, you get this really large hard case, but inside that case, you get a 3.5mm cable, which is about 10 feet long, because you can use these wired, and we will talk about that a little bit later. And it comes with a USB-C cable to charge these. Now, on a full charge, the headphones get about 13 hours of battery life, so it's not the longest battery life, but I think also with this type of technology, having the dual ribbon setup in each driver, it's taking a little bit more to drive these, so it's going to take a little bit more power. Now mine also came with an extra set of ear pads, and it said complimentary on the packaging, so I don't know if that's something that's going to be available to everybody, because the ear cups that are on the headphones are different than the ones that they also added into the packaging. The ones that they added in the packaging is all fabric. I think it would be more used for longer sessions, like if you're going to use these for gaming and you want something that's not going to trap as much heat, because the ear pads that are on the headphones out of the box are an all pleather feel. Now it is memory foam, it is super comfortable. These are very, very large ear cups. Everything about these headphones are large. You have a really tall headband. You can even see that the suspension system here is basically, it looks like two smaller ear cups inside of these, and this is what sits against your head. I don't care what size your head is. I think these are going to basically be able to fit anybody. They're completely massive, and that also kind of goes back to talking about them being portable. These do not fold down. They actually don't even swivel in or out. They do swivel where you can lay them flat on the ear pads and kind of have them stand up on your desk that way. I actually kind of liked it like that. I don't know why. But the build is pretty much all plastic. Now, there is some silicone that's wrapping what I believe to be maybe a stainless or metal type finish here on the headband. Again, your head never really touches that because of the suspension system. It does feel really light because of the all plastic build. All of your controls are located on the left side. And this is another interesting choice here because most controls, especially if you're going to use buttons and inputs and things like that, are usually more aimed towards the back of the ear cup. And these kind of start in the middle and then move up front. So, if anybody's looking at you, they're going to be able to see the power button. They're going to be able to see your controls. They actually can see that USB-C input. They'll have a hard time seeing the 3.5mm input because it's at the very bottom. And next to that is your up and down button. So your volume up and down, and also the buttons that you would use to move your tracks forward and go backwards. Now, the power button on here kind of serves also as an EQ button. You can basically listen to it as it is, as it's intended, or there is a bass boost feature just simply by holding the power button for a second. Now, I personally prefer to just use it the way that it's intended out of the box, which we'll talk about once we get to the sound. If you are going to use these for phone calls, it's using dual MEMS microphones. Again, both of those are located on the left-hand side, and I think they do a pretty decent job for phone calls. Again, this just isn't a pair of headphones that I would, want to walk around taking phone calls with, but you guys can be a judge of the quality by listening to a test here.
So here's the mic test using the SE-1s, and I think overall it does a pretty decent job of picking up my voice. So if you were to use these headphones for taking phone calls, this is what it would sound like.
So now let's talk about the sound. And really, before we get into the sound, the first thing I want to say is you really can't compare these to other wireless headphones out there because it's not using the same technology. It doesn't have that same type of sound because the dual ribbons in these ear cups, they just handle music differently. It's extremely fast, and the bass actually does have quite a bit of impact, but it's fast, it's tight. There's no looseness to these, and that's because the dual ribbons just move quicker. It just puts out audio quicker, it moves on to the next thing quicker, and so that actually lends itself very well to quicker genres. Like metal sounds incredible on these headphones. Same thing with just rock in general or anything, even EDM where the beats are coming in pretty quick. It's just able to keep up with everything, and it's far from sloppy. This just does not give off that subwoofer type feel. Mids, I was so impressed with. It didn't matter if it was male or female vocalists, they sounded right up front. And I think it's because of the details that are also in the treble and the soundstage and the sound imaging being as good as it is on this pair. It kind of has a live sound to it, like you're listening to the band live or you're listening to a group in whatever environment, but a very large environment. Now, the problem that I had with these comes with volume. Now, the volume using these in wireless mode, now this is using them with an iPhone, an Android phone, my PC, no matter what, they just didn't get loud enough. I always wanted to kind of bump them up at least like 3 to 5 notches louder. Now, I do like to listen to my music loud, and I think this is fine if you kind of want to use it as like listening to music but still be completely aware of your surroundings, because this isn't going to drown anything out. Now, when it comes to using these in wired mode, which I'm going to say is the absolute best way to use these, I definitely recommend plugging them into an amp because otherwise you're, again, not going to get a decent amount of volume out of these. But once you do, you can hear so many little things. And this is an excellent pair for gaming. And that's because you can hear all the subtle footsteps, the explosions you can feel, but it just kind of sounds a lot more natural than they do on other headphones. I don't feel like this headphone is trying to overemphasize everything. It sounds like it's just trying to give it to you in a fairly natural way. And I feel like there's just so much details in this headphone. Now, it's not bass heavy, it's not like overly bright in my opinion. Now, I did notice once I plugged it into an amp and I turned them up quite a bit, the treble can get a little harsh there, but in wireless mode, that is not going to be an issue. And again, you can switch it into bass boost mode if you want to boost the low end a little bit more, but that's where I feel like the mids and the treble start to suffer a little bit, and the bass just kind of makes it sound overly warm. So I didn't really like using them in bass boost mode, which is kind of surprising considering I consider myself a bass head. So I preferred the sound the way that they were out of the box. I do love the convenience of using these wireless, but I don't see where I would ever want to use them around anybody or just out and about or even moving around the house because of how much sound it can leak. And I know that's by design with open back headphones, but mixing it with this design, I don't see this being a pair that I would walk outside of my door and use in public. So who are these for? If you're somebody that wants to dive into listening to a pair of headphones with the dual ribbons, they're a very, very enticing pair, especially at that $200 price point, because a lot of headphones that have this are much more expensive. If you're somebody that likes to hear a lot of details and a lot of characteristics in music that you don't get with most consumer headphones, this is an excellent pair for that. But I think the limitations are going to turn a lot of people off, especially for their intended purposes, which is to be used wireless. I guess if you approach it as a wired headphone first that just has the capabilities of being used wireless, that is a much better selling point on these headphones. But they just sound so much different than other headphones and earbuds that I normally test. And it's fun to hear a lot of details that I miss out with those other headphones. But guys, that's my video on the Sineaptic SE-1 dual ribbon wireless headphones. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.